Oh, and we're live. Do, 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 do. Jingle, jingle.
Hi, everyone.
Dancing with my little elves.
Yep, we have everybody. Welcome. I have Jennifer Jurkofsky from My Holistic Healing. You have a
My
lot of
holistic self? Yep.
My holistic self.
Mhm.
You are very accomplished. So it's like I'm trying to remember all the names properly. We have Jennifer and her gnomes joining us today. Her little friendly gnomies. Aw, and we have Tanys of Twillow Lifestyle Community and Academy. And she's wearing her lovely Ghost of Christmas present wreath. And I've got my little antlers. And thank you everybody for being here. It's this. I can't believe we're in December, really, already.
I don't know how that happened.
Like that Christmas show. What was it? Santa Claus is coming to town with the wizard. You just put one foot in front of the other. I always bring that song up during the year.
That is a good thing to remember. One foot in front of the other.
And
Indeed.
I thought today, because I enjoy listening to Janice Joplin here. That's the only Janice.
That's our couple name, Janice.
Wow.
Janice. That's it, Janice.
That's it. We don't even have to, individualize. From now on, we're just Janice.
There you go.
Janice. We can do Janice. I'm good with that. Keep your E.
So this is what I love. Mondays is why I enjoy tuning in when I can remember, when I have the opportunity, when Jennifer and Tanys gets together and they have their conversations, because it can be very serious, it's very insightful, but it's also very light and uplifting. So I love the energy these two lovely ladies bring to their shows, and I want to bring that to my channel. And before I go on and let Jennifer and Tanys share who they are. Let me just go ahead and say hello to a few people. I know Michelle Marie was here at 8:30.
Ricky.
Oh my goodness. So very, very early. Hello, Michelle. Give Jonathan my best. And Kaylee's been with us.
Awesome.
As Fogo Pogo traditions. Watching White Christmas. Oh, apple cider Jack Dan. Shan loves fruitcake, so it's at the holidays until we start getting the eggnog for him and the fruitcake. So,
Nice.
Sing Chris Muppet. Oh, see, for us, we love the Santa Claus movies, and Shan bought me those, the originals from when we were kids. I have the Rudolph, the Frosty, and the Santa Claus is coming to town. And I think I have a separate one with the drummer boy on it, the old classic, Bass Rankin.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she does not, but she has her gnomies.
But I could.
There you go. Very cute.
I don't have any socks on, so I don't have Christmas socks on.
It's just about being flexible enough to get your feet up to the nose.
I used to be flexible like that when I was 23 and not 53. But I digress. So Teresa, hello, my dear. Thank you for being here. We are multi-streaming, so not everybody will be able to see everybody in chat. So make sure anyone who's hanging out in mine, go visit Jennifer and go visit Tanys. Give them a likes up, and afterwards, leave a comment too. Helps boost their channels. Good morning, Amanda. Hello, Kristen Louise. All her pictures she's been sharing on Facebook to where was it then? You want to get Venice. She went to Venice with her husband. So
Nice.
Twillow Talk with Jana. There you go. She came up with another name.
Nice.
Ricky and Brett. So we call them Bricky. Oh, that's cute. And Gerald is here. Hello, Gerald.
Janice.
Yeah, and Janice. And hello, Fatima. Thank you for being here. Oh my goodness.
Oh wow, nice.
Husband,
Wow. That is awesome.
Pompeii. Well, Pompeii would be
Nice.
something. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Much. Okay, and so we are caught up. So, Jennifer, you want to share a little bit with everybody about who you are and what you do, whatever you feel like sharing?
Sure. So I am a registered psychotherapist. I am a Canadian certified counselor, intuitive life coach. I do energy work. My business is my holistic self counseling, and I'm also with Twillow Lifestyle with Tanys. I
This
do.
heavy lady over
Yeah,
here.
with our wonderful Christmas present spirit with us today.
Yes. And he was very
Um,
jolly and very laughing.
Yeah.
So yes, Tannis brought it. He brought it.
Yeah. So I know as Tannis and I like to say, you know, we do stuff.
Yes, lots of
Um,
stuff.
We do stuff.
lots and lots of stuff. And so when it comes to you know, the stuff that I do, I bring in the energy work, I bring in the human design, Enneagram, all kinds of other modalities and things to work with my clients to really understand and love and accept and embrace who they are when we work together.
That's what I would love to
She
do.
is a gift.
She is.
Pogo says she's a gift. Yeah.
Yes.
She is indeed.
Aww.
We love Jen.
We love everybody here is a gift. Because we wouldn't be here without everybody in chat and within us being here as well. And Spirit bringing us together.
Takes
And it is a
community.
gift to be here with everybody.
Absolutely. It takes community. Community's key.
And Jennifer has also, also teaches human design. And I know that that's a very lengthy discussion. But she has done lives recently, yesterday as well, I believe, with Gerald on Tarot Stash. So if you have any questions about what human design is, please check out Gerald's playlist because I believe you've been on several times. This was like a third part.
This is the third, I think.
Yeah, Gerald actually has a playlist put together on his channel. You can also find them on my website and
on her website, yes.
as well. And so, yeah, the first one we actually talked about human design and what it is. We've talked about the gates and transits. We did a deck reveal with this lovely deck here.
They're gorgeous.
Which is actually,
I have to see what. Now, did you design those?
No.
Okay.
Oh golly,
they're
I wish.
Right?
They are the Rave I Ching cards.
I Ching, yeah.
So they're but they're fantastic. And on the front is obviously there's like pictures on each of the cards, and then you have the trigrams on them. There we go. And on the backs of the cards, and I'll show you the backs of mine, but I write all over my cards because I'm just like that. But on the backs of the cards on their own, they come, I'm mirrored. They come with the gates, and then they come with the names of the gates. They come with all of the lines. There's some writing on them.
That's a lot of information
but then I write a whole bunch of other stuff on them too, so that's on me.
She gets to know our cards intimately.
I really do. I work with them, but yeah. So
there we go.
They're super cool. So we did a deck casual. I think that's how he says it.
Casual,
yeah.
Casual.
And then we just did a part 1 on the centers. So there's going to be a part 2 coming, and then we're going to do some Gene Keys chat. So there's a whole lot of really cool discussions still.
I would love to be able to learn all these things, but right now my brain can just handle so much. I'm learning basic astrology, and my brain just glazes right over. It's just like I want to learn all these things, but after like a couple sentences, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. How many times do I have to read this sentence over for it to, to sink in? But
well, there's sometimes things that aren't for us too, right? So you pick the modalities that are for you, depending on the case. Because I'm not far behind you with that in terms of astrology. I like this little overview, and Michelle tries to educate me regularly, which is great. And I totally appreciate that. I've picked up way more than I have ever before. But I still feel very, very young in that area. I'm a newbie in that area still. Yeah.
Yes. And it doesn't matter what age you are, we can always learn We can learn something new.
Absolutely.
We're all at different stages on our spiritual journey. And Tanys, is there anything you would like to share? Because you have been a guest on my channel, but whatever you feel like sharing with somebody who may be new or watch later, who don't really know who you are and what you do, all that good stuff.
That stuff that I do.
All that good stuff that you do. Would you like to share?
Sure. So I do a lot of energy healing stuff in terms of I'm a Reiki master, Nukti master, Aqualead master, learning Sakam from Jen. I'm sure I haven't pronounced that correctly. Have I?
I say Sakam, but yes.
Sakam? Yeah, okay. It's an Egyptian one, so that's fun. Ooh. And I'm a crystal master. I am a channel, so I do full trance channeling on occasion. I'm also a galactic ambassador in the astral as well as in the 3D for an organization called the Alliance for Extraterrestrial Diplomatic Contact. And we have delegates all over the world, and we're looking to make change with the UN, modify the Geneva Convention. And what else do I do? I am also what Michael Ney calls a pilot. So Michael Ney has a channel called Beyond Being Human. And so I'm a pilot on there, meaning I have a monthly show on his network as well. Yeah. So I do stuff.
Really cool stuff.
I have a bunch of podcasts that I do, but it's fun. I do one for Michael, I do one for the Alliance and Twillow Talk, and Ramsey Chidi and I do one every other Friday, which is the open mic. And then of course you guys all know that we do readings on Wednesday evenings and stuff. And Jen and I both do a podcast with a group from the UK, Therapists in Conversation. And that's a lot of fun too. Yeah, we are.
Very busy.
We like to keep busy.
Yes, yeah. Very nice. It's just amazing how the people I have met in this community since I started 2 years ago, because last month I had my 2-year channelversary, and it's just amazing how from just the small little circle of just like political reads to angels and to star seeds and to meeting Maya and learning about doing true crime readings and then learning Lenormand and then and I mean it's this ever expanding universe. It's just incredible, and I'm so blessed to have met everybody and have everybody in my circle. So everybody in chat, this is a great segue too, really, into today's show, because we're talking about the magic and the miracles that are in the holiday. And sometimes for me to start, it's just being grateful for the people that, I have in my life. And I know some of us might be a little lonely this time of year because maybe our beliefs or our lifestyles may not quite mesh with other people in our families. And so there are times when we may feel a little alone, but yet still knowing that there is beauty in the world, despite everything that's going on, that's going out into nature, just disconnecting from social media helps so much.
Here we are, all social media people. Yeah. We're glad you're here, but make sure you take a break, is what we're saying.
Everything else, except for things that bring you joy and light you up.
Exactly.
And talking about social media, it's like I try to avoid the news as much. I don't really do the Facebook. I don't do the TikTok. I don't do any of that because it's just this constant onslaught of, I have enough thoughts and voices sometimes and things going through my head without having to, have that added to where, this is the perfect time to be able to go out into nature, no matter where you are, and really reconnect to the earth and to spirit. And I thought it would be beautiful to maybe sharing stories, traditions, things that we might still hold, from growing up with our families, or even new traditions, that we started. And Jennifer, did you want to go first and share any of your insights into the holidays and being, a social worker? Any maybe advice? And YouTube, this is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I think I can speak for Jennifer and Tanys and myself that this is here as a support, but we really recommend going and seeing finding a counselor or a mental health or your doctor to be able to really get the help that you need. So most definitely. And really quick too, Hypnicity came in. Nalani is here.
Hey.
Bella is here.
Hey, Bella.
Bewitched. And I don't know
Hello,
if you saw
Bewitched.
earlier, Fatima said that you ladies look nice. You want to have a little fun. And there's Michelle. Hello,
Hey, Michelle.
Michelle. And Serena is here with us as well. Oops. Boy, the chat jumped through again really quick. So, all righty, Jennifer, what would you like to share?
You know, it's interesting. Growing up, Christmas was always my favorite. And I think that was because my grandmother, the matriarch of the family, always made Christmas incredible. Went all out with all the decorations. The family always got together. Christmas was a big, big deal in our family. And then my grandmother passed. And COVID hit. And all kinds of things happened. And everything changes, right? Family moves away. Everybody splits up. Tradition is no more. Right? And I think when it comes to the holidays, you know, we can have all of these traditions and we can have all of these wonderful things. But I think the biggest thing in all of it is to really hone in on what is going to bring us joy. Right? What in this moment can I do that will bring me joy? You know, and if there's something that I can't do, can I release it? If I can't have it anymore, can I honor what it was for me? Can I release it? Can I allow it to have its space and be the beautiful thing that it was, but recognize that it's okay that its time has passed, right? Because I find that when it comes to the holidays, a lot of what comes up for people is we can't have things the way that we want them to be.
Yeah.
That's how I feel this year. Yeah. And I just love how Jennifer talks too, because she's so calming and soothing. It's just brings up a lot of emotions too. So that's beautiful. You have a beautiful gift, Jennifer. I didn't mean to interrupt, but your voice, how you talk, yeah. You're so beautifully authentic, both of you. But I just, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay. That's okay. This is a really hard time for people. As beautiful and magical and wonderful as it can be is also as hard and difficult, and as much as we can struggle and as much as we can suffer, right? Because of all of that, right? And so, you know, we lose people, and then we have to go through this time, and we want them to be there, right? And they can be there, but it's different. It's not the same. And so being able to hold that space and honor and still be able to be open and curious and make new traditions and continue to cycle in new magic and new miracles each time, that really is the beauty of what this season can hold.
I know when Shannon and I first started going now, because he's from the West Coast, Pacific Northwest, and so his traditions and stuff were different than how I grew up here on the East Coast. And he didn't really have the type of family unit that I did, especially having an Italian family. And so the holidays were very big, and it was full of tradition, food, this and that. And when he, you know, got with me, it was like, well, this is tradition. This is tradition. He's like, okay, yes, we'll do this because this is your tradition. But for a lot of us, that tradition is what, you know, continues to give us that hope, remembering the traditions and try to still do a few of them if possible. And like you said, with him and I, we create new ones together with him. He loves snow and snowflakes. So since we've been together every year, I get him a new snowflake and then he saves it. So that's, you know, that was for me a new tradition. stockings, one gift, well, we really can't do that like we used to now because of, it's the economy's a little rough, around the edges for a lot of us. But when we can, we do those little, for us, it was always, you could get to open one gift on Christmas Eve. And so that was part of a tradition. He's like, okay, you want to do I can wait till, no, you want to do it now? Okay. To be with tradition. So definitely. And before I give it over to Tanys, one of my favorite traditions, and it still brings me joy and lights me up, is when my dad would take us out for a car ride and we would go see everybody's lights on the house. And even back in the day, there was this one that my dad would love to take us down, and it was a snowman, and it would throw a snowball, and the snowball would light on the wire as it go down, then it would hit Santa and burst. And so that's one of the traditions that Shannon and I have agreed on that we enjoy to do. And so every year when we go shopping, if at night, we'll take a couple of the back roads where we know people do their lights and their decorations, and we've incorporated that into our own, into our holiday. So, thank you for letting me share, Tanys.
Yeah, of course. Kristen, sending you lots of love. I know what that's like. Yeah, December's been a tough time of year for us. Since I was young, actually. So we've lost a lot of family in December along the way. But definitely more in December than any other month. So it is that time where we remember them, and we tap into that, and they're never forgotten, right? And of course, being sensitives, they're always there. But it is, like Jen said, it's different. It's not like having them here in person.
Grieving physically.
And so the grieving thing is part of that season for many. And so, Kristen, I can certainly sympathize with that, not with Mom. I'm fortunate to still have my mom, but we've lost, for instance, my father-in-law died on the 20th of December. My grandmother-in-law died on the 22nd. My grandfather died on, this is not all the same year, folks. Okay, this is spread out. I just want to be clear about that.
It's still hard though. Yeah.
My great-grandmother died on Christmas Eve, and my grandfather died on Boxing Day, and then Jeff's aunt died on the 27th. So for our family, it's a lot of that kind of thing. So building in those sort of memorial moments can really help bring you a lot of solace in that, right? And taking the time to feel them, because they'll be there. So even just taking a moment and being mindful about, okay, who's here? And they bring so much love to the holidays when you do that, because you can feel the love there, even if they're not there in person. So for me, that's been a thing over the years. And there's other things, of course, as well. So for us, we I don't have a big family. I'm an only child. So growing up, my parents separated, and my mom has a best friend, and so we were like extended family. So she has two sons, and then my mom and I. So we would do Christmas Eve together, and then we would have Christmas morning at home, Mom and I, and my grandparents, whichever ones. And then of course Jeff came along, and we've had him. He's kind of come into the similar traditions as we've gone along. And then you have children, and then my brother-in-law had children, so that changes that routine a little bit, right? So when Morgan was little, Gail would come and have breakfast with us and stuff because there was a child there. And then of course he grew up, and my brother-in-law had their children, and so she started going there for the morning, because of course when they're young, Christmas is for the young ones in that kind of sense. And there's this beautiful magic with kids around the holidays. And so now my son is now moved out on his own, and so it's changed again in terms of all these different life cycles and stuff. But you learn to enjoy different things about the holidays, like when I was a kid, it was making shortbread with my mom. That was a big thing. We have a family recipe that's come down for generations. And so when I was a kid, that was the biggest highlight, right? Now it's really spending time with family. Even having those moments, I usually try and take some vacation around Christmas, which I am doing, guys, between Christmas and New Year's.
She needs to recharge her batteries.
I do. I do. So, so that's a time for me to like curl up, have the hot chocolate and read a book. That is a great tradition for me. Maybe not on Christmas, but like Boxing Day, that's a big, it's a PJ day. I stay in my PJs and I read a book and I, have coffee or hot chocolate or tea or whatever comes, It's about recharging for me around the holidays, usually. It's right after Christmas, because, you have family stuff on Christmas.
It can be very exhausting. And very draining. I think a lot of the time we forget to take care of ourselves and nurture ourselves too. Yeah. So that's something that we really need to remember to do, running around doing this for somebody, doing that for somebody, but just, okay guys, depending whether you're pretty much a solo act or if you have a family, I need to take 10, go in like Kelgon, take me away in a moment, going in and just, having a hot bath, speaking of cocoa, Tanys, oh my God, I wish, if you ever come to visit, there's a Ma and Pa coffee shop that opened up not far from us. And their hot chocolate is the European hot chocolate. So it's got a spice to it, a nice little spice taste to it. Almost nice. Not quite, kind of like how when they make the Yule logs, they have that little bit of a spice of the chocolate. Yeah. It's kind of like that. And you just take that first sip and it goes down. Nice. So when you said hot chocolate, I'm like, yeah, I'm there. So there. Yeah. And, nice. Hello. We lost Marie Michelle, my mom.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that would be hard.
Yeah.
But you turned that pain into something positive. You were able to, you could have gone a different way and could have just kind of hardened that heart and kind of did the same to others, but you took that experience and you took that route where you were able to help other people and brighten up other people. And that's a beautiful gift, because some people don't realize that one small little kind act of kindness, that one smile can really make the difference, in a person's life, big time. And people think just one small thing, how what am I really accomplishing if I just do one small thing? It has a ripple effect. You do that one small thing for somebody,
just smiling at the holidays.
They do it for somebody else, they do it, and then it ripples out. So yes.
It was funny. We Jen and I went to the spa with Jacqueline the other day, and everywhere else we were, everybody was. I find people are very straight-faced right now. There's not a lot of affect. And at the spa, it was like I looked around and everybody I smiled at, they all started to smile, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice." So it really helped make the day. When they smile, when you smile at somebody, it really makes a difference, and you really can feel that.
I don't know. I might have to ask. So I asked the girl, I go, "You guys," I said, "have the best cocoa. Where do you get your?" And she goes, "Oh," she goes, "It's like a European cocoa." And I'm like, "Well, whatever it is, it's the best." So it's probably, if I Google, European hot chocolate. Did I say coffee?
No, hot cocoa.
I just say cocoa. Okay.
Yeah. Or hot chocolate.
Cocoa. Yeah. And maybe find out, or next time we go in there, if we can ask what brand, but I don't know, but it is a delish.
I want to say cinnamon is one of them, but I think there's more than that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure cinnamon is one of them.
Shad thinks it might be like a kind, because he says it. This cocoa reminds him of the Mexican cocoa he used to get when he was
like
younger.
A cayenne.
Yeah, cayenne.
Like the movie, Chocolat, where she mixed that. She had that magical recipe from, her witchy mom, that got passed down, of putting the bit of cayenne, a little bit of pepper or spice into it, and made everybody all happy. Chocolate makes me happy. That's one of the things that makes me happy in life.
Yeah,
is
I
chocolate.
agree.
2373.
Aw,
Oh wow. On the
Wow.
same day, but
wow.
different years.
Yeah.
Wow, Melanie. And I want to say something that I noticed. My friend Amanda, she lost her father on Christmas Eve a few years back, and then the following year it was her grandmother, and then back in October she lost her husband. And in mentioning, the holidays, it's for Yule is all about the rebirth of the sun. And
Hmm.
so, if you think about it, our loved ones might be dying in our life, but they're being reborn into their new life on the other side.
That's right.
They're starting a new journey of their own. So, really, it's kind of a very powerful, I know it's very painful, but at the same time, it's a very powerful time of year when those energies are at play, and to help them transition and be reborn into a
Mhm.
new light, into a new light body, maybe, if I'll go that far. So that was something that popped in my head when Tannis was
Mhm.
sharing, the people that she lost in the family. Then I was thinking about Amanda. And
Yeah.
talking about Amanda, she just popped down and, said hi to
Hello,
me last
Amanda.
Friday.
Cocoa in Spain.
Nice.
Yeah. Ooh.
Ooh, like pudding. Sounds yummy.
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
goodness. You have to scoop it with the, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, it is a different transition. And sometimes when people pass, I mean, sometimes it is that kind of blessing if they've been in a lot of pain, or, they've really been suffering. It can be seen as that blessing. Um, it's it's a difficult thing to look at, is that grief piece. But really, part of what the holidays can do, if we let it, is to transmute that energy,
Yeah.
right?
And celebrate
Transmute
their
it
life, their
and
memories.
celebrate their life. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
why there's sometimes starting a new tradition where you can actually maybe sit around and have that little bit of time where you actually speak about them, and everybody tell a story, like a joyous one, that they remember
Hmm.
them, because that helps to really magic transmute the
Hmm.
energy around that kind of topic, because it is part of life, so it's going to happen. It's not an easy part, for sure, but it happens. So it's about
And
transmuting it, because that's what magic's all about.
that's one of the things we
Transmuting.
love about not the Tom Allen, the Tim Allen Santa Claus movies. It's remembering the magic,
Mhm.
and believing in the magic that's in all of us and in everything. And and for me, growing up, it was great, December, except for living in Buffalo, having the snowstorms, because trying to plan a birthday party and not knowing if, there was going to be a blizzard or storm and people weren't going to be able to make it. But
Yeah.
I share my birthday with Santa Claus. That's tomorrow, St. Nicholas.
Ooh.
And so for me, December was like one of the best months ever, because one week I get a couple of presents, and a couple weeks later, I get some more presents. Um, but it's for me, it was always that magic. And I was raised Catholic, and so before I end up leaving the church. But for me, it was still that beautiful celebration of the lights of um I'm trying to look for, because as a child, you really don't, at least for me, I was always pagan as a child and did not even realize it. And I don't know if my mom noticed it, with me, because I would play under with the nativity, and I would do these stories about, well, we're going to go over here, we're going to do some magic, we're going to go over here with the white, I mean, doing things that I didn't think of. And then when I tell people, I've met in the pagan community that I was raised Catholic, they kind of go, "Oh, I'm sorry." I'm like, "Well, no, don't be sorry. It gave me a faith. It gave me the ability to believe in a higher power, something higher than myself." And they
Mhm.
had those beautiful traditions of midnight mass, and
Mhm.
the celebrating, and the music,
Mhm.
and that one time of year when the family could, you know, put the differences aside and just come together for a couple of days.
Mhm.
So for me, that was, one of the magic about, and of course, my mom loved to decorate. Everything was decorated from head to toe. And the decorations stayed up until January 6th when the wise men got home. And then,
Very good.
and then it all came down. So, yes. Hi, Teresa. Definitely candle
Candle
magic,
magic.
lighting the candles, the advent candles, singing the songs.
I did choral, like going out and doing carol singing, because I was in theater, and so so I
Ooh,
went
I
out and
didn't know
did
that.
carols. Yeah, I did years in theater, and so we went out as a group and would sing carols on the street. That was a different kind of magic, right? Like you are creating. I don't know how that would go over now. This was a few years ago, but certainly at the time, it's been a time-honored tradition for sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
For
A
people
lot
to
of
do
different
that
traditions. Yep, all over the world.
is carol singing, and so that's always a nice part. Even if you just sing them, I, I, we all have to clean, so put them on while you're cleaning. It makes the cleaning so much more fun.
Yeah.
I've
For
always
me,
loved Christmas carols.
Yeah, me too.
oh, here's a great segue. Favorite Christmas songs.
Mary, Did You Know, and Drummer Boy.
Drum.
You know which
Drummer.
one? I don't know if you guys have heard the Pentatonics. Mary, did you know?
I love that.
Holy man, oh
It's
man.
my favorite. It's my
No, I
favorite.
haven't heard it. I'll have to listen to it. We like Avi on his own, but as pentatonics, we don't listen too often. But definitely, but yes, Drummer Boy. Always. Every time I hear it, I choke up and I cry.
Hmm.
It's just one of those songs, that stick with you.
Hmm.
That's one of the things I hold. And when you were saying about caroling, oh my goodness, I loved, because I was in chorus and choir for all the years I was in school and whatnot, and with partially when I was going to Catholic school briefly. That was what I loved the most. It's the music, the song. It could be their words, but at the same time, music is so universal.
Yeah.
Emotions are so universal that you can get in a room and you can sing in a totally different language, but you still can feel that magic. So again, another part of the magic and believing in miracles this time of year is just listening to music. And I know that helps me raise me out of my depression. And when I feel low, is putting on those songs and being able to sing along with them, and moving through those emotions as well. So, but yeah, for me, my favorite Christmas song too is I love the dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy. I love it. I just absolutely. I always wanted to be a ballerina when I was a little girl. So every time I hear, I see myself dancing on the floor doing,
Awesome.
the ballet
That's
dance.
great.
Yeah, I've always loved Silent Night too. Jess said that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do
Silent
you hear what I
Night.
hear was up there? That's another one of mine.
Yeah, have yourself a merry little Christmas. Yeah.
Oh, Holy Night.
One of the best, what I still listen to is, if you remember from 87, 88, they did a very special Christmas, the very first one where they got all the pop musicians together to sing Christmas
yes.
songs. That is a classic. You got Run DMC on there. You have Stevie Nicks doing Silent Night. You have I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus by, John Cougar Mellencamp. That is a tradition. Again, Christmas Eve. I love playing that music, that soundtrack while wrapping up Christmas gifts. So that's another,
Yeah, Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Oh yeah, they're amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can take them in little bits.
We put in I have got a couple albums that are just like fun, different ones, and I know my eldest will break out into like Santa Baby and like all the different fun,
Yeah.
and then of course we like alter the songs because one of the dogs is Sebastian, so Sebby baby, and then we change them and we use all the Christmas carols and we change them up into other songs.
Yep.
Let's see. Catholics also pray to different saints. I find that very Catholicism is basically, and some people get very upset. There was a point in time where if I told a fellow Christian that I was pagan, but I still believed in certain things with, my Catholic upbringing, I was still, a devil worshiper. Or if I would bring up during a pagan group, if I would say one time I said Merry Christmas instead of Yule, and I got corrected big time. It's not Christmas, it's Yule. So there are times when I couldn't embrace both around certain groups of people. And if people can just start to, you know, history is history. We can't change it. We can heal from it. We can send healing energy to it, but we have to just start moving forward. And what I find in this community, and Fatima, I'm going to kind of point you out here a little bit. But Fatima is so beautiful because she's still Catholic, but she says that she's left multiple churches because she feels that her faith isn't the one and only. And she wanted to be with a church that welcomed everybody. Didn't matter, your lifestyle, what you believed in, who you were, how you want to dress. She says, I embrace and I listen and I respect everybody's different spiritual beliefs and traditions. And we really need more like that so that we can, instead of pointing out everybody's differences, we can all point to all of the beautiful connections, all the commonalities, and how that brings us together. And again, like music and art. That's
And
what,
love.
mhm.
If you look at the root of all of them, it's all about love,
Yeah,
Yes.
right?
it really is.
Love and light. And, angels are another one of those things that span
Mhm.
across religions. And it's interesting because, when I talk to people about magic, when you're doing an altar for magic, you have all 4 elements on your altar, because that enables you to really anchor in the energies. And if you look at any spiritual or religious practices, they all have all 4 elements involved in all of them.
Yeah.
So that's in some way or another, right? They're different combinations, or they may have different symbolism or things like that, but they all bring in all of that because it helps you to really feel that spiritual energy, that be like our guides and stuff, guides and gods and goddesses and all of that.
And all that good stuff.
All of them.
Stuff.
They can bring their energy in and actually
like a
be more
buffet.
palatable, right? You can actually feel it more when they have all 4 elements around. So that's why it's important to have those when you're looking. And that's what, for me, fire is a big one. So one of my favorite parts is when we have a fireplace going at Christmas. There's something about that for me as well that I find
we put the crackling ones on YouTube on our screen, but yes.
Yeah, even if that's what it is, right? I don't
hear the crackling.
I don't have a wood fireplace either, so I have one of those portable ones that's plug it in. But but I love that.
The 4 books of the New Testament represent the 4 elements. I did not
Exactly.
know that. And what was touching on that, when I was in my late 20s, and I was still trying to figure out spiritually, because I was still struggling between the Catholic and wanting to become more pagan, Wiccan, and trying to explore and trying to find out how I can bring them together and not feeling that guilt and shame for not being able to, or that spiritual confusion. And I was living briefly in Massachusetts with a friend, and Salem was only about a 20-minute drive. And I went down there for the first time and went to this one store and was talking to the lady and explained to her, my journey, my spiritual journey at that point. And she goes, well, sweetheart, she goes, think of it as a wheel. You have all those spokes all coming together to that one circle in the middle, and it holds the whole wheel together and everything keeps moving. She goes, it doesn't matter what you believe in, it all leads to source, and we all turn and move and flow together. And I was like, wow. And that has stuck with me after all these years. That's when I was 28, going on 29.
And that's
And
what
now
we
it's
need
almost
more.
53.
I hear you, Heather. I'm only a couple months behind you, so.
But it just seemed like yesterday, but it's just incredible how how fast the years go.
So when I
Tracy,
started the Celtic shamanic high priestess path, I was not, I had my usual kind of things. I would meditate and all of that. I had no idea when I started that the impact that doing daily ceremony for myself would have. And so now, as I'm a high priestess, so I do that every day. I have my own little ceremony where I, light a candle and I do my gratitude and all of that stuff, and I do my usual ritual part of that. And I had no idea, the impact that would have on me going forward. For me, if I miss it, I can tell. I just don't feel as grounded. I don't feel as connected. I don't feel, sometimes it's like, ugh, because I don't do it. And so for me, that it's very helpful. And I think that's one thing that's beautiful about the holidays, because I think people tap into the energy of that, the energy of doing the ceremonies and rituals. And that is what brings magic in many ways for people.
And I love what Warrior Girl just shared. He showed us all the path to the crystals, which is alchemy in the truth of. I don't connect anymore with him, which is interesting because as a child, when my parents weren't home, nobody was home, I would do a mass at home with his picture, because as a little girl, I wanted to be with those altar boys. I'm like, why can't I be up there with them? And the priest during mass, because you're a girl. And I couldn't understand, what does it mean? I'm not allowed, because back then I couldn't I couldn't understand the concept. So I remember one day my parents weren't home. My mom had her bottle of wine. We had a loaf of bread. I took it and I sat there. I pulled the bread apart. I poured just a little bit, and I did my own. And so, but it was when I started getting into college and learning about the true history of, and things of Christianity and over through the ages that they don't tell you, necessarily tell you about. And I took a class in college called Women in Religion, and it was taught by a Franciscan nun. She had a doctorate, she had a PhD, and she wrote the book herself for the class. Yeah. And she openly taught us about goddess worship. She taught us about Wicca. That did not go well with a lot of the students. And she showed what the patriarchal religions did to women and how they viewed us as women and our places in their books. And but then her second half, she balanced that with showing the women in those spiritual faiths finding the beautiful traditions, finding the beautiful memories and things with family, and wanting to try to help elevate the women, the status of women in their religions, and to teach people how to embrace the beautiful parts of it. And so, and I asked her one day at class, I was like, you are a nun, you're supposed to be converting, and yet you're teaching us about goddess worship and Wicca and other ways of spiritual beliefs. I told her I didn't understand, and she said that everybody has their own spiritual path on this earth. Yeah. And she says, and if I helped you find your correct path, then I've done my job. Yeah. And she was the only one I've ever met through, except for Father Dick, who was like, okay, I understand about, because he was willing to listen to me explaining about Wicca and pagan and how it was the balance of the female and the male, this and that. And he's like, okay, he goes, I bless you, sweetheart. He goes, follow what makes your heart happy, but just, be careful. So there were at least two who were open to teaching. And so that gives me hope all these years. And no, it looks like we kind of taken a step back a little bit with the way things have been in with politics and with the evangelicals and everything kind of like, but at the same time, I think a lot of that is happening because the power of true spirituality and love is really fighting back, and
Yeah.
they're doing everything they can to hold on and to keep down. But for me, it's a good sign because it's showing that people are becoming stronger, brighter, more loving, and more wanting a different world than
Mhm.
we have been living in. And to me, that's the miracle that I hold, that this keeps unfolding despite everything that's going on in the world.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because the original teachings of, you know, Christ were not the teachings of what the church later had in place.
Mhm.
And so it's a really interesting thing when we look at what the church is today versus what the Christ taught, right? They're very different things. And so it's a really interesting thing when we take a look back, when you go back to that idea of the spokes and the wheel, because what Christ taught, especially in that idea of being the way, the truth, and the life, the idea is I am the example of what it is to live this consciousness.
Yeah.
I am the example of what it is to find the truth within. I am the example of what it is to come to that knowing of the higher self within oneself and to connect to that. That's what the original teaching was all about, right? It wasn't what it became later.
Mhm.
And so it's such an incredible thing when we actually look at it and we look at what the teaching is from that to what the teaching is through the Tao, to what the teaching is through all of the different religions, all the way through at the core crux of the mystical truths behind them. They're all the same.
There. It's very interesting. We have, even just the three of us, we have very different sort of backgrounds and what we come to this with, right? We all were brought up differently from what we're doing now. And I think that's interesting. You know, I was not brought up in a pagan or Wiccan household. I always I was always drawn to it. I, like you, I actually took a class in university, and it was actually called Witchcraft and World Religions. And I was so drawn to that class, and that was way before I had any inkling to even know what it was. But I was very drawn to it. Of course, I got past lives as witches, but that probably played a role in getting me into that class. But I did a whole term paper on Wicca before I even knew anything about it. But it's funny because there's that. I was brought up, I guess you would say, united. It was probably my Christian united faith, which is probably one of the more, I would say, open in terms of the Christian faiths. And then Jen, you have a different background as well with your.
Yeah, I mean, my parents are Catholic, so I grew up playing with Barbie dolls in the pews because, that's what you do as a little kid. I went to my CCD classes and went, this is not for me. And eventually my mom was like, okay, fine. Jen is wreaking havoc on these classes. I'm going to pull her out. And then I decided I wanted to go to church. So I did, and actually ended up going to a biblical university and getting my degree in biblical studies along with social work, but almost failed because my doctrinal statement did not agree with what the school was teaching. And I had to defend it in order to graduate because it was not in line with what the school wanted to indoctrinate us with. Right. And so it's a really interesting thing. And it set me on the journey of, I don't know that I want to believe what they want us to believe. So I'm going to study everything. I want to read it all. I want to learn all of it. I want to know what's really the meaning behind all of these teachings. So I read the Tao, I read the Quran, I read the Upanishads, I read the Gita. I went through, right? That's amazing. Want to know what these are really about and connect with the deeper spiritual teachings, right? I want to read Hedwig, and I want to read Marguerite Porete, and I want to read, John of the Cross, and I want to know what Rumi talks about, and I want to know what, right? And so we get into, what's really the truth under what we're being told the truth is, right? And when we do that, we do begin to recognize that there's this kind of controlling belief that we're being told that just keeps us in line, right? So that we can all just be the sheep and do what we're told.
Yep.
Right? And then there is this deeper truth that frees us completely. And that is where we want to get to. That's what we want to connect with. And when we can get there, we can start to decondition, we can start to understand ourselves better, we can start to recognize, whoa, there is a whole other reality, right? And whatever it is that gets us there, right? Upanishad's a game changer for you, Michelle, right? Whatever it is that gets us there, it's worth getting there, right? And it's worth doing the exploration to figure out what that's going to be for you.
On a real simplistic note, really, right? Each religion is a tool. They're all a tool. Like I always describe it like we all have to, brush or tend to our hair. Some of us use a pick, some of us use a brush, some of us use a comb. It's all different tools to get to the same thing. All religions and spiritual practices are all to increase our connection to source. We might call source God or Allah or whatever your choice.
Or light, love, universe,
source, gods and goddesses, right? Gaia, like whatever that is for you.
The term Great Spirit.
Great
I
Spirit.
was connected with Native American when I was a child and didn't understand why, because I was always connected with nature. And one day when I heard them referred to as Great Spirit, it was just like, Great Spirit. There's neither or. It's just great. And to me, that's been one of the most beautiful, titles or names they can give to. And Warrior Girl just really mentioned quick, Bible actually stands for basic instruction before leaving Earth, because you're mentioning it as a tool. Yeah. And so they're exactly. I just wanted to highlight
it's just one of the tools. So we use religion as a tool for us to create that connection to whatever this is that we want to connect to in terms of the all.
Yeah. It's really interesting, right? Because I think the biggest piece in all of it is that we have to be able to recognize that even though we have all of these tools, ultimately, we have to go in.
Yeah.
Because nothing outside of ourselves is going to get us there.
Yeah. And Teresa just said that, right? Yes,
and
they
so
all
lead to the center. I don't believe God lives in any building. It lives within nature and within ourselves, because we are nature. Nature is God. So what is in nature, like us, is within. So yes, it's not separate outside of, but it's within. And I love that. And I'm going to highlight that again too. I saw Teresa, they all lead to the center of your heart. Yes.
Yeah.
It's that connection, the heart connection, because it lives within each of us.
Yes.
Hi, Sylvia. Thanks for popping in.
Hey.
So we are at 2:01. Did you ladies want to add anything before we go? I know we were going to do a few cards maybe for the collective.
We could.
Or was there anything else that you wanted to share, or do we think we've kind of brought it full circle with our discussion?
I just want everybody to breathe today.
Breathing is good.
Breathe, ground, because we've had some big spikes on the Schumann. So just the last 2 days we've been up in the 50s kind of for a few hours a day. So in terms of the overall, that would be something that I would encourage.
I still don't quite understand about the Schumann. I've been meaning to write that down to study that, because I need to.
Yeah.
Because I get confused when I hear about, because that's a new term to me. This is something I just heard about a couple months ago when I think you started talking about it, and then I started noticing Valerie from Illumination Portal mentioning a couple of others, and I'm like, oh, another new term, you know.
So the Schumann resonance scale is the vibrational scale they use to measure the vibration of the earth. So when they measure the vibration of the earth, that affects us. So when we have spikes in that Schumann, so it's had a baseline of 7.8 hertz for years and years. And in the last few years, we've had spikes. Highest one I've seen is like 500, which is huge.
Wow.
So we'll feel it, right? We'll feel it in our energy. And so, yes, Hypnocity, yes. Sunday was like that.
Yeah, she had mind.
Yeah. And so we feel that in our body. It vibrates our stronger. So it's basically a lot. So that vibrates the earth. And then when I talk about the solar storms, because there's a lot of solar storms, it's an 11 year. And so as the poles shift on the sun slightly every 11 years, so we have a tendency to have more solar storms. With solar storms, we can have what they call coronal mass ejections, which is big balls of plasma that get spit out from the sun, and they come hurtling towards Earth or not. Last week we had 4 of those. And one was a very strong one, and it was high velocity. So it left last and joined the others. That's how fast it was going. And so, of course, that's going to impact us more in terms of our energy fields and everything, because we're all connected. So that's how that works. So that comes in and bounces off of us. It gives us a little nudge, brings light in, which is what we want, right? This is all stuff we want. It's good for us. Anything that's going to raise our vibration is good for us. So volcanoes are erupting, yes. And that's part of what is
Sylvia said,
this Schumann and everything. Yes. Do I know why? Yes, that is why. Because we've had these various things happening on the earth. So we've had a lot of natural disaster stuff. It's kind of a chicken and an egg thing, though, with those, because, the vibration rises and we have more, and then the vibration rises and we have more, kind of thing. So it's kind of like that. But the sun's this year, the sun in particular.
For me, yes.
Yes, me too.
And there was, I believe, there's been a lot of earthquakes between Iceland here. I mean, it's just Mother Earth is really trying to waken us up. It's like the tower moment. She's like, how many more times do I have to, shake to get you guys to pay attention? And Hypnosis says, I'm here for Mother Earth. I feel much. And Leah, we're not doing personal questions today, sweetheart. This is just just us doing collective. Yeah. So it is affecting everyone differently for sure. And everything happens for a reason.
It's all happening for us so that we can raise our vibration. But yes, that's a good idea, Teresa. New and gently. With ease and grace, I always say. That helps us. Look at this. The one I just picked as we were talking about it.
There you go.
It's all the light coming down. It's step into the spotlight, but I often say that's the...
There we go. So we can see the card. There we go.
Yeah, I often say that's my downloads card when we have a lot of stuff coming at us.
Jasri asked, does it ever stable? It might. I don't know.
I think it has stable times. Like we've had some stable times over the year. It's really like this, It'll be stable and then it'll rise. And it'll be stable and then it'll rise. So it's a bit wavy, but it does have some stability built in as well. So there are days and stuff. We had a few days over the last couple of weeks before the CMAs came in, where we were really in around the 7.8 to 8 hertz.
And I'm going to give it over to Jennifer. Are you ready?
I am.
All righty.
I am. So the first one, I pulled from a couple different decks. So the first one I pulled from was the Divine Beloved. Here we go. And the first one I got was, and this is, I basically just pulled for, what do we need kind of going into the holidays right now with everything, because that was fitting for what we've got right now. So the first one I got was emotions, right? So I release strong emotions. And so it says, change me, divine beloved, into one who can easily access all my feelings. Let me bless and release anger, resentment, or bitterness. May I release any emotions that block happiness and contentment. And it's interesting because then I pulled for you guys from the deck that I do on Mondays with Tanys, which is the Sacred Feminine, just to get kind of an update on that one.
It's beautiful.
And
my wish list.
It goes right with it, right? Listen to the wisdom of your feelings.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm just going to read this one real quick for you. It says, your feelings are trying to tell you something, grandchild. Did you know that your 4 sacred bodies, the emotional body, is the least understood and respected? It is time to change this imbalance. Your feelings are wise keepers of your present story. They know what is going on at every moment and cannot lie. Listen to the emotional impulse. It is uncomfortable. It may be signaling that your thoughts have taken you astray. Your thoughts can feed you untruths. They can try to convince you that your feelings are wrong. Don't believe them. Ask your feelings what they are trying to say to you. Be curious about their message. Remember Rumi in the Guest House, guys. If you don't know it, I'll pull it up for you and we can read it. Feelings are wisdom keepers. No matter what they are, sit along the negative or positive spectrum. Use your mental body to acknowledge when your feelings have been stirred. When the mind works in collaboration with the emotions, great leaps of understanding occur. Understanding leads to compassion and a sense of well-being. Let your mind follow where your feelings lead. You will be surprised at the wisdom you find. And then to go with that, I got protection. I am safe. Okay? Change me, divine beloved, into one who is protected from all negative energy and predictions. Fill me with your dazzling and radiant light. Make me a vessel for love. I now release all fears that I've absorbed from others, right? Because we pick up so much. And as we go into this season, especially if we're going in around family, we're going in around friends, we're going into coworker parties, we're going into all kinds of stuff, recognize what we're picking up that's not ours. Bring in that protection, fill ourselves with that love so that we're protected and we're not picking up anything from anybody else. And then we've got generosity. Okay, I am abundant love. Change me, divine beloved, into one who can easily send blessings to all, even those filled with negativity or fear. May I shower the planet with love, knowing there is an unlimited ocean within me. Right? Again, that is so much about the energy, the miracles, and the magic of this time of year. Right? We fill ourselves knowing that we are completely protected. And then we allow that fill to just overflow and send that back out to the world. Right? So finally, I have faith in life.
I need that.
Today, I give myself to life. I live in the here and now without concerns for tomorrow. Because God, light, love, universe, whatever term you use, is always near and will never let me fall. My faith surrounds me with light no matter the circumstances. I let go, having faith that life will always provide what is most beneficial for my soul.
Oh, wow, it's beautiful. Thank you, Jennifer.
Beautiful. I have a few here, so let's see what we got. So interesting that you brought up a birthing analogy. You'll see why in a sec. Pray from the heart. Prayer can really move mountains. Reach out to the divine with your heart's concerns and watch miracles unfold. So we are creative beings. We can create change. We just have to believe that we can create that change. So use prayer to help you with that. The guides are there. I got this. Someone new is coming. An important new relationship is on the horizon. Open your mind and heart so that happiness can enter your life. So this one, for me, I think it's about enjoying the company. And, you know, a lot of us will meet new people over the holidays. So it's really about opening our hearts to understanding those around us and really being okay with, you know, whatever comes at us. So just be opening your heart. And this one says, don't give up on love. And this one, it talks about a relationship you cherish can be healed. Allow me to clear the way for forgiveness so that love can thrive again. And we talked about that over the holidays, how many relationships can be healed, or we can work through stuff because we're with people that we love. And sometimes it's not easy. So sometimes we do need to do some forgiveness work. So I always remind people the Ho'oponopono is a great tool for that forgiveness work. And I did get the stepping into the spotlight one, which we all have a message to share. So communication is coming up, as well as all of these downloads. Okay. And I got the giving birth, because we are in a beautiful opening giving birth time. I mean, not only, I suppose, if you are of the Christian religion as well, you know, it is a giving birth time of year, but it's also, if you're looking at it from an energetic perspective, we're giving birth to a new year, and we can make that year whatever we want to make it. And there is a dove on here for peace, right? And that she's in pink. There's a lot of pink, all about love. So it's encouraging us to give birth to a year full of peace and love, and that we are receiving from the angels. Okay. Also reminding us to communicate freely, okay, with love. You see there's a little heart on there? Communicate with love. I communicate from the depths of my being. And yes, there are things that we need to just accept what is. Because sometimes what's best for us isn't necessarily what we want, but it is what we need. Yeah. And so sometimes we need to just accept what is. I accept and embrace my inner majesty. And we do all have that inner majesty. Mm-hmm. Embrace your life purpose. I'm guiding you towards your divine life purpose. Whatever makes your heart joyful is what you're meant to be doing. So what brings you joy? Jen brought that up earlier. What brings you joy? Mm-hmm. Do that. Bashar talks about that. I don't know if you follow him. Daryl Anka channels Bashar. And that's his formula. Do what brings you the most joy and excitement right now. And then do that again. And do that again. And do that again. That's how you find what you're meant to be doing. Okay. Mm-hmm. And all of that will help us to rise above. So this is such a beautiful card because we've got the lotus flower coming out of the mud. And we all feel like we've been in the mud. Right? So we are coming out of the mud. You see how shiny she is? And she's just having all of those downloads come down. Just confirms what we were saying, you know, with the downloads that are coming. So those solar storms from the earth and the rising of the vibration of the earth, it's really helping us to raise our vibration so that we can rise up out of the mud and stand in light and love for 2024. And it says, I see only beauty and grace. And so we can see that. We can choose what we choose to put our energy into, what we choose to see. And so that's what I have for you coming up for the next season. Mm-hmm. Yes, the mud fed the flower. It did. We go through chaos to create change because let's face it, we're human. We wouldn't want change because we don't like it. Mm-hmm. There has to be some chaos for us to step into it and to do that, accept what is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's all happening for us, guys.
I forgot that I had pulled one more card.
Okay.
It's a mudra card. Oh. I forgot and I pulled out the mudra deck.
Beautiful.
It's a self-esteem mudra. It's I am true to myself, so you guys can see it there. Basically, so we're gonna bring these together and we're gonna put the pinky and the forefinger up and the thumbs down. Okay, so that's the self-esteem mudra. Okay. And breathe into that.
Ooh, feeling that.
Yeah. It says, I am a child of the universe, and this gives me the right to receive love and respect, to be successful and contented. I treat myself accordingly, making demands upon myself and indulging my needs with a good sense of balance. I stand up for myself if need be, and I am my own support and advocate. I love myself even when I have not earned love, right? We earn even when I have not earned love, for then my need is greatest. Nobody is perfect, and my weaknesses and faults are like doors which open up onto new worlds as soon as I have discarded that part of them which is negative and a hindrance, right? That part that doesn't serve. Look out with your mind's eye upon a wild and colorful landscape. Each plant and each animal has its value and makes its contribution to the health and harmony of the whole community. The mantra, I am valuable and good just as I am. I make my contribution to the benefit of all. Just because I am.
And can I just share with you, I am surrounded by guides right now, and I am so warm and so filled with love. And I just need to pass that on because I think it's for all of you. I'm just like overwhelmed because there's so many guides and angels and stuff in the room right now. So I'm just sending you all of that love from all of them.
So
Did it feel good, Mazzy? Yes, it does. Mwah. So
those are beautiful, Jen. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank
they
you.
are. Thank you. Woo! What am I doing my screen here? Okay, so before he goes, Mazzy wanted to pull a card, right? And so he pulled a card, and we got the gift card. Perfect time of year. And it says, grace is a gift from God. We don't need to work hard to earn it, feel worthy enough to deserve it, or surrender our needs to receive it. The gift of grace is our birthright.
beautiful.
Runs along and with what you just had here.
Absolutely.
So he's gonna go now. Say bye. Bye. Mom, finish your cards. All right. Oh, now I got all a cat fur up in my nose. So if I go like this, people, I take a completion. We are coming to the end of the year.
Yes.
Everything is coming full circle. Everything that we've worked on, we've planned. We get to sit back now, look at it, and say, how do I move forward? Well, you move forward through the rainbow. And this is going into that fiery season of the rainbow, connecting with spirits, our loved ones, our traditions, like we were talking about. And I also got the seer. And this is telling us to trust in our messages that we get. Trust our intuition, whether they're from our ancestors, our animal totems, but trusting in our own inner vision, how we want to proceed forward into the new year, new goals, new projects that we want to do that might be working on ourselves. Leah asked about spirituality earlier. This could be working on our spirituality, learning how to connect with our higher self, our guides, our divine wisdom, and bringing that back. And the ego is actually great spirit. The ego is representative of great spirits, and the egos get such a high perspective of things that we see that we may not see. It's that gift again of being able to look at things from a different perspective, especially when things are difficult. For a lot of us right now, this past month has been very difficult for me. But when we get high above and we connect with our higher source, with great spirit, the ego, we can bring that into our nest of learning, bringing everything we can into us so that when we move forward again, I got the fire card, and this is the season of of the flames of Yule, lighting the Yule log, lighting our fireplaces, igniting that creativity that is going to carry us into the next year. And of course, then it ended with Mozzie's card with the gift, and that's the gift, from spirit. So, and another gift from spirit is you two lovely ladies. Thank you for being a part of our community. I'm so glad that you came into our circle, into my circle. You are both much loved and appreciated by myself, and I'm sure I can, from everybody else too in chat. And, before we end, do you have anything coming up on your channels that you would like to share?
Yeah. We got lots of stuff coming up this week, actually. What's
Lots of
going on
stuff.
for you, Jen? Do you want to start? I'm going to pull up the
Oh,
calendar.
you know
so
me.
don't forget.
I'm hanging with Tanys on Mondays at 5 o'clock Eastern, so you can catch us there. Have a couple things coming up with Gerald, but not in the next week, so you'll hear about that on Mondays. If you show up there, you'll hear about it just before it's going to happen. But yeah, other than that, Tanys is going to have a whole lot more going on. So
It is a busy week for me.
yeah, you've got a lot this week.
I do lots of teaching this week. So tonight I'm doing actually it's a complimentary intro to Celtic shamanic high priestess training. And so that is tonight at 7 p.m. So you can sign up at twillowlifestyle.ca if you're interested. It's basically, we're coming up to the beginning of the new year program. So it's a year and a day program. And it touches on a whole bunch of different things. So I do this once, this 1 hour workshop just to show people what it is so that they can make a decision whether that's for them or not. The other thing, we've got Michelle's show, of course, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. I have, for local people, this one is in person, but it's a spiritual social. And so that's here at my place. On the weekend, we've got Aqualead 1 on Saturday, which is an awesome energy healing, all about healing the water in the body and in the environment. And I'm doing Reiki 3 on Sunday online. So if anyone's interested in those, again, twillowlifestyle.ca. That's where you'd sign up. So lots of stuff going on.
Yes, busy.
And then, of course, yeah, Jen mentioned Twillow Talk. So
yeah, perfect.
And for me, I am a guest on Terry Renner's channel tomorrow. We're going to be celebrating my birthday by doing readings from the goddesses and the angels. We're going to be, channeling in that divine feminine energy. So that will be at 1 o'clock tomorrow. And then at 2:30 actually, we will be doing another investigative tarot on the Delphi case. So, and then Friday, I have my show with Allison from Aries Girl Tarot.
Oh,
so
awesome.
Yes.
So you have a full week too.
Yes, I do. And thank you, Teresa. So ladies, thank you again so much for joining me on my channel today. It was such a pleasure and a joy to have you. And thank you everybody for joining us, and make sure to please subscribe, hit the like button, do all that YouTube stuff. All the information for Tanys and Jennifer is, hopefully I got most of it, because I can't do cut and paste from YouTube onto my StreamYard. So I had to type out stuff. So if I missed anything, I don't think I did too much. So all their links are in the description below. And everybody have a beautiful rest of their day, and we will see you on our next show.
Awesome. So before we go, hold on, because it's been mentioned a couple times, but it hasn't actually been said. Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to Heather! Happy birthday to you!
Oh, thank you. Today's my sissy's birthday, so big, birthday to my big sis. And so yes, thank you everybody. Thank you, ladies. That was wonderful.
Everybody asking about the mudra deck, so I'm just gonna
there's the mudra
show
deck.
you. It's the mudras. It's Gertrude Hirschy, if I'm saying that right. Hirschchi. I know I'm mirrored, guys. So
no, you're not on. You're not for
I'm
us.
not on this.
No, not for us.
You guys can see that perfectly fine then.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's how you would pronounce it. Hirishi or something like that. But yeah.
Okay. I know somebody was asking about it. So
awesome.
Okay.
Lots of love to you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Everybody.
It's an honor.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.